The Phantasmic Journey podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Paula Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon. Your journey begins now.
As you all have and of the known and unknown, what do we understand? What answers are we trying to achieve? Are there answers? Tonight, we gather to find more verity. Join us as we take the journey into the unknown. This is the Phantasmic Journey podcast with your hosts, Gavin Kelly and Paula Purcell.
Well, welcome to the Phantasmic Journey podcast, everyone. I'm Gavin Kelly, and sitting right next to me is my lovely wife, Paula Purcell. How are you today, Paula?
All right. How are you everybody tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing? So, we've got a really cool show to do tonight, but we kind of want to switch gears a little bit for what's going on with Hurricane Michael. Unfortunately, it's basically tearing up the entire panhandle in Florida. We've seen a bunch of videos and pictures of the panhandle. Panama City, a lot of places in Panama City are actually totally destroyed. The top level of the police station is gone. They only have one line in for the police department. The entire fire department is gone. Thus far, there's only one documented death for Hurricane Michael, and I think Paula probably got a few more things to say.
I've been watching all the videos, and not this past summer, but last summer we got to go to Panama City, so I know what downtown Panama City looked like, and someone had filmed the video footage of what I saw today, and it's just devastating. I know this is a very historical event that has happened, and it's the worst that we have seen, and I know it's going to take them, I wouldn't even say months, I would say years to even try to get back to normal, to try to focus on what has happened. And so far we've only known of one death. A tree had fallen down on his house and killed him. There is people that have survived the storm. I have been watching footages of people that have been staying in the hotels, those high-rise hotels. I have actually people have stayed there and have went and has filmed. God, the bravery, that'd be more than I would do.
I wouldn't.
And they have actually filmed some of this stuff, and I'm just like, wow. There was a storm chaser group that got stuck in the storm, and they had to bail because their truck got pushed into the water, and they had to run for their lives.
That's not good.
So that did happen, and I did read the story on that. And it's just, I want everybody to keep, if you hear this broadcast, just keep everybody in prayers, because they're going to need it. I'm pretty sure there's going to be several different types of,
Do you have the list for the power outages of everybody from
Well, that was
Florida to Georgia.
That was an hour and a half ago, so I don't know what the update numbers are. But an hour and a half ago, we had over 300,000 people without power in Florida. We had over 70,000 people in Georgia, and a little over 50,000 in Alabama.
Damn.
Now, those numbers will grow. I don't know what the numbers are now. I have not gone online to really look in the past hour and a half, but there is a lot. I know our trucks from Paducah Power, they sent one line truck down, they sent 3 trucks. One's is a boom truck, one's a line truck, and one was a manager's truck. And they have sent a crew down to report to Tallahassee. And they left at 7:30 this morning, and they were to stop in Georgia, and they were planning to be in daybreak in Tallahassee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Hurricane Michael the eye is over Atlanta, and it's a Category 3 right now?
It is a Category 3 heading towards South Carolina. I just read all the state warnings. There has been hundreds of them being issued.
And what's the mile per hour of the wind?
It's still almost 100.
Wow.
And by the time it gets to South Carolina, it's supposed to be a Cat 2.
Well, that's good. That means it's dying down.
It's dying down. But you've also got to worry about the system that's going to be coming in. I know we've got cold winds coming in from the northeast.
Right.
Or the northwest, I'm sorry. From the northwest coming and pushing in. That's how we're going to get a cold front this weekend.
Yay! As long as it's cold and not rainy, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because we got Columbus Belmont that we're going to
That's all
this
right.
weekend.
We're camping in 40-degree weather, so I love you, honey.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I used to be a Boy Scout. I know how to camp in tents and stuff like that. I'm good.
So it's supposed to be like 46 at nighttime and 65 during the daytime. And it's our first camping experience together as husband and wife.
Yeah. Otherwise, we use the tent as our huge 3-room base camp, which we did at the Farrar.
I have never went camping with him before. I have been camping before, but I've never been camping with him.
Camping's fun.
So this is going to be interesting.
All right, but do know that our prayers are with everybody in Florida, the Panama City, Georgia, the Panhandle, Destin, Florida, moving on up to South Carolina, Charlotte, South Carolina. So our prayers are with all you. If any of our friends are out there, reach out to us. And if you need us to contact any family members, we can do that for you. So, pardon me. As I stated earlier, we have one heck of a show tonight. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill you guys in on who we are having. This is a paranormal powerhouse couple, as described by many. More commonly known for their extreme paranormal encounters featured on several major television networks, including the Travel Channel, Sci-Fi, Destination America, A&E, Travel and Escape, the Learning Channel, and Oxygen Network. They have appeared on many paranormal reality TV shows, such as, but not limited to, Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Witness, My Ghost Story, Ghost Adventures Aftershocks, The Scariest Night of My Life, Paranormal 911, and Season 1 and 2 of Haunted Case Files. Currently, they are working on several other television projects and documentaries that will draw us in closer to their family haunting. So we will go ahead and discuss more in detail of what other television projects that they're currently going to be working in. Of course, you do know there might be some that they cannot talk about due to signing the non-disclosure agreements. So that basically means they cannot talk about it. Although they are not limited to television alone, as regularly appear as special guests at conventions, lectures, and paranormal-related events year-round while captivating audiences with their breathtaking paranormal encounters. They approach this field is brought on by their mission statement. I love their mission statement. Check this out. Seek truth, understanding, and proof of the paranormal by any means necessary. Our special guest tonight is Jay and Marie Yates. So let me go ahead and get them on the phone here and we'll go ahead and talk to them about what they're doing and what programs they're currently working on, events, so on and whatnot. Here, hold that. So give me a second here, and we'll get them on the phone. Got to move my mouse on over here. I'm hoping that everything goes good due to the fact that, since we do have weather problems going on. So we'll see. All right.
Hello.
Hey, Jay, this is Gavin Kelly and Paula Purcell. How are you doing this evening?
We're doing good.
All right. Now, is it Mary or Marie?
It's Marie.
Marie, okay. All right. Well, I just got done reading most of your biography, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty impressive. One question I do have, it says that you're working on several other television projects and documentaries. Is that anything that you can actually talk about, or have you signed a non-disclosure agreement?
A lot of it's non-disclosure
Okay.
right now. We were working on a great project here recently in Virginia City, where we filmed a documentary regarding the Bonanza and the Delta. It was kind of a little project we did, and they're kind of turning it into like a small documentary, which is up on our page right now. But the other stuff, I can't really say quite yet. But yeah, there's definitely more to come for sure.
All right. Well, I noticed that you've been on Travel Channel, Sci-Fi, Destination America, A&E, Travel and Escape, the Learning Channel, and Oxygen. How did you guys end up landing these? Do people call you up and ask you for your experiences, or just being at the right place at the right time?
You know what? Like in the beginning, that was like never really the plan. I mean, we were just like investigators. So
Yeah.
I think it was about like 8 years ago. We got contacted by an old show called My Ghost Story, and I was kind of like didn't know why they had contacted us. They were just fishing for stories,
Right.
and I thought, well, why not? Why don't we just submit a story and see? That's kind of neat, So we just shared one of our cases. Didn't think anything of it. Didn't really have any expectations of it. And then they ended up sending a reply that the network wanted it. So we were like, okay, that's kind of odd. But definitely not the best filming experience we've ever had, and almost
Right.
kind of ran us away from us not wanting to do it anymore. I mean, when a show specifically asks for like orbs and stuff, to me, it was just it was a weird process. In fact, Marie, when she was actually filming it, she actually I tried to walk off the set. Then later, after I filmed my segment, I almost walked off. It's just, we wanted to keep our reputation in the field intact.
Oh, yeah.
But it definitely, it came out pretty decent. I mean, I haven't seen it shoot since like 7 or 8 years since it's been out, So, but it wasn't all that bad, I guess,
Yeah.
And then we just really didn't. After that, we just kind of we're just doing our thing like we always did. And it wasn't too much longer after that. Jeff Belanger, Ghost Adventures, actually reached out to us about some work we did in the Apache Junction, Superstition Mountains area.
Right.
And asked us if we'd like to appear on the show to showcase our evidence. And then after that, everything just kind of kept going. So we've been doing TV now, pretty consistent for, I guess, 8 years. So, we always do our local news stuff, especially around the Halloween time. Or any Friday the 13th thing, of course, we always get hit up by that kind of stuff. But it's been a great outlet to be able to kind of tell our stories and explain to people that these things do exist. It just so happens that Marie and I have a ton of stories. I grew up haunted. Marie kind of inherited those hauntings in marriage. But we constantly have stuff happening with the other in our own homes, in our own lives.
Well, wait a minute. You guys inherited it by marriage? How does that work?
Marie, I don't know. Marie, want to explain that one?
That's like inheriting a dog.
Oh, jeez. Inheriting a dog?
I can't shoo it away. It stays there.
Oh, wow.
But I honestly never knew really about ghosts and stuff like that. It's a funny thing, I always say the only ghost I ever knew was Casper the Friendly Ghost on TV.
Right.
I didn't get into any of that kind of stuff growing up. Grew up in a very Christian Baptist church home, and it was just all that kind of stuff was around me. So when Jay and I started dating and he started telling me some of his stuff, I'm like, okay. Most women probably would have ran.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know why I didn't.
Which would explain why I was engaged 2 previous times before you, and they did run.
Well, what? No Scooby-Doo? No Scooby-Doo in the gang? You didn't watch any of that?
No, I really didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess it was on there. I really was the type of girl. I was a tomboy. I was out messing around in fields, building forts.
You know what's funny, though? She says this now, but I was about probably like 3 months ago. Marie started talking about like her childhood and stuff that she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what's funny, Marie, is that you say that you weren't into this, but you tell me that you hung out at an old bridge where a farmer hung himself, allegedly, and it was haunted by the farmer. You used to hang out in a house that's supposedly haunted in the woods.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know any of that stuff at the time. We thought it was fun to play in. I mean, none of that stuff ever, I don't know. It was just nothing you talked about, I guess, when I was younger. Especially in our beliefs of church and stuff. You just didn't talk about that kind of stuff. So I don't know. But when I did start dating Jay, it was
like a dinner room, like table, like conversation, like every day.
And it was so weird. Most people would come and tell me all these stories. You'd more or less like, okay, this person's a freak. Let's just run it. And, let's ignore them. Let's just not talk to them. But it's just how, I don't know if you actually. And I know we got to meet you guys in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you actually talk to Jay and you actually, when Jay speaks to you, it's like you would tell. I mean, he's a very truthful person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I was so defined by him telling me all this stuff. And it sort of got more personable because I have an autistic son from a previous marriage.
Okay.
And my autistic son, when we started dating, started growing closer to Jay. A lot of the reasons why is because my autistic son seen a lot of things and then Jay started seeing the same thing my autistic son was seeing. So that's the reason I started wanting to learn more about the paranormal and what the unknown and everything. So that's what got me into it.
You married into it.
Yeah, I'm married into it. We always
basically.
He brought the darkness into my life.
Well, I sort of got married into mine as well because our first investigation we've ever did was Paula's house because she had a house fire and it uprooted weird activity. And I mean by weird is
a lot.
Yeah, a lot. You go ahead and say like your keys in the dining room, they end up in the living room. There was one night when everybody was asleep. They heard a bouncing ball going down the hallway, and everybody opened the doors to look, and, well, there was no ball bouncing down the hallway, but they heard it.
The dog even cocked its head sideways as if, huh? The expression they have.
Yeah, it's like, you have a ball, and I haven't been playing with it? What? And there was something with an old lady perfume that started from the dining room, and it made its way all the way down the hallway and then dissipated, just gone. And
plus, we've caught stuff in the backgrounds of pictures.
That
we had a birthday party, and it was actually your birthday party.
Yeah, I was playing with a stuffed dolphin.
Yeah, that's a long.
Don't worry about that.
That's another story. But anyway,
get that image out of your head.
And I had went back to the camera and looked at them because I was going to post the best ones online because I'm a picture nut.
Yes, you are.
And so in the background of one of the pictures I took of Gavin, in the window is a picture of, it looked like an old man.
Right behind me.
Standing right behind him. Wow. And then that's when it got me to where I feasibly need to research the house, and we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the guy that was standing behind me was the actual owner of this house.
Well, not owner of the house, owner of the property.
Owner of the property.
Yeah, the house existed after his death.
And the thing that was really bizarre and just way out there is she pulled up a picture of what this guy looked like. And we put it side by side, and it's like, holy shit, that's the guy behind me. He's dead.
Yeah, he died like in 1898 or something like that.
And then we wound up doing an investigation. We wound up using, well, see, when I first started out, this is where you're going to laugh. See, we're kind of, different on different backgrounds on how you guys got in and what happened to us.
Right.
I was just flipping through the channels, and I was bored out of my mind. I mean, I kind of got the attention span of a gnat. So I came across Ghost Adventures, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I started watching it. And I'm like, oh, this is neat. They're in infrared. That's kind of cool. Oh, that poor bald guy. That's funny. And I mean, I was just really getting into it. Well, after what Paula told me was happening with her house, I contacted Aaron on Twitter, and we talked. I told him what was going on, and I kid you not, I always say this everywhere, and I'm sure he's gonna get me for it. But I said, what do I do? And he said, just do what we do. I'm like, oh, okay. And by that you mean what? He's like, oh God. All right. What do you have that you can investigate with? I'm like, well, I have a high 8 Sony Handycam that uses the cassettes. So you're like, old school, but okay. I have a digital recorder I used in college. I have a regular digital camera. And he goes, all right, well, you basically got the necessities. Now all you got to do is get an EMF detector. And I said, EM what? And he goes, do you know what an EMF is? And I'm like, no. So I wound up doing research and came across the Ghost Meter Pro, which is the most effective, cheapest EMF detector out on the market, and it's highly sensitive. So it was really cool. I got 2 of them just in case one decided to break. So I used that, and we had a white noise maker thing that came on our cell phone. So we shut the power off in the house, and we did an investigation. First thing we got was an EVP that sounds like somebody saying, leave me alone. Scary as hell. And the regular generic one everybody gets, get out. We got that. Right. But the one that really got me was we got the name Frederick. And I didn't know the ins and outs on that one. Paula went ahead and checked and found out there's a little boy that died of whooping cough, 5 years old. His name is Freddie. And his father is the one that was behind me in the picture.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, they both lived here. And we haven't heard from them in a while, but yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I kind of married into it, too. What was that?
So Aaron's the one that pushed you into ghost hunting, huh? And you just got hooked?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, what happened after we did the investigation, I went ahead and put it all together because, I've taken speech classes and communication and stuff where basically if you put all this stuff together into a format, then you can hand it off in a different media and different platforms. So I'm like, I can just compile all this into a video and just upload it to YouTube. Yeah. So I did that. Right. Just to see if we're going to get any peer reviews because, at that time, we didn't know what the heck we were doing. I mean, we just dove in. And I was contacted a week later from a producer in South Haven, Mississippi. He had an independent network. And he goes, I have watched a lot of ghost hunting shows. I'm like, at least you have. I haven't. And he goes, you guys are just... How long have you been doing this? I said, a day. He's like, really? He goes, all the shows that I have been watching, you have people sitting in chairs and rooms. Are you here? Can you make a noise? Can you do it again? And I'm like, yeah, I can't relate to that because I haven't really watched. The only shows I watched was Ghost Adventures. He's like, well, they don't do that. I'm like, I know. And he goes, neither do you guys. He goes, you guys were constantly on the go. You had a camera going. You were asking questions while you were moving. You were going to different rooms. It's like, you had a handle on this. I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing.
So natural.
Yeah. So he goes, I don't know what it is, but I like you guys, and I want to sign you to my network. And I'm like, okay, what do you want from us? He goes, give me some more videos like that. Okay. So we wound up signing with his network, and we gave them 13 episodes, and our show was called The Phantasmic Ghost Hunters. And it was on GTN, and basically we gave him over 40,000 plus viewers watching our show. Yeah. So Amazon caught wind of that. Yeah. So Amazon caught wind of that, contacted me. I got contacted by Amazon Studios, and they're like, hey, we see that you have a paranormal show. We would like to go ahead and bring you on as a new original series. I'm like, cool. So we had to do a lot of changes, and we had to meet a lot of red tape and jump through hoops. And basically we got rid of our crew because we had exes, her ex, my ex, gone. New name, new show, Paranormal Journey into the Unknown, and we've been with Amazon Studios for, we're going to start filming season 4 in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, dude.
That's awesome.
No, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. So, but that's how it happened to us. I mean, I got married into it, and then just things started slowly flowing behind, and, you know, things are kind of looking good for other prospects, which we can't talk about. Because,
of course.
Because, yes, we did fill out 2 non-disclosure agreements.
Right.
So... yay.
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so kind of nervous on it.
Hold your breath. Hold your breath and hope for the best. I've definitely been down that road a couple times, man. I definitely know how it is, and you know, wondering what's going to happen, how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. Waiting by the mailbox.
It's interesting, though. I mean, you guys are doing a great job, obviously. So, I mean, hopefully that success and that track record continues.
Oh yeah, just waiting by the mailbox. That's not a lot of fun. Constantly asking, do I have a present? Do I have mail? No. Damn.
We look at it this way. We still put our pants on one leg at a time, either and or.
Well, if I put both legs through one short slot, I'm in trouble. I'm just going to fall over. So, but yeah, I mean, we've been doing a lot lately. I mean, we have our own production company, In the Shadows Entertainment Group is ours, and we're currently working with GK Films. And what? You're looking at me waving your hand like you want to try to say something.
Nothing.
We're shooting a movie called Lucy, and I'm sure she'll probably explain it. What?
The show's about them, not about us.
Huh?
The show's about them, not about us.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I know that.
We're just having a conversation.
We're having a conversation. We're like sitting in the living room or on a couch, and we're drinking wine and eating cheese.
Oh, that makes it even more funnier because we don't own a living room anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the living room is the entire recording studio and our podcast studio. So
oh my God,
the other sacrifices of marriage, you give up the house for unexplained stuff.
Yeah, we have a 50-gallon fish.
One room.
Do what?
Jay gets one room in my house. I get to decorate my whole house.
Is that the room?
He's lucky he got that house room.
Is that the room that you were telling me about, Maria? That like basically anything strange or something that you don't care for in the house has to go in that room?
Yep, anything like haunted and all that kind of stuff, all goes in that room.
It's the coolest room in the whole house, trust me.
Does it leak?
Yeah. Like no one likes to go in that room.
There's even crew members that come over here that don't even want to go in that room because they feel like it's all creepy and stuff.
Oh, God.
No, we have a lot of things that we've just collected over the years from cases, locations, oddities, and just like horror paraphernalia. You know, that's all it is.
No, you collect everything.
Ouija boards and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it took me a lot of years before I let a Ouija board come in my house.
You know, it's funny. Years ago, I used to chase Marie around Toys R Us, and I'd throw Ouija boards at her to try to get her to catch them.
Oh, jeez.
And it was at Target.
At Target, we used to do it, and then Toys R Us used to do it. But now, I think you've touched one now, right?
Yeah, I've touched one now. I never played one yet, but I have touched it.
We got like 15 in the house, but... Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you.
I've learned now, like a Ouija board to me is an obelisk and all these other equipment that we have are the same difference as a Ouija board. Just in my mind, a Ouija board, just because of how I grew up, is the evil thing.
It's all intent, in my opinion.
So any of the equipment you use in the paranormal field, you can use as bad if you actually use it as intent or bad.
I only use, like, most of the boards I have that we just have them just because I collect them. Because I think they're cool. But like the only time I ever used the board was in an old what are those called, opium dens?
Oh.
And I set it out and I asked a question and I went to go down to actually touch the flechette and it shot across the board maybe like half an inch or so, and I jumped out of the room pretty quick just because I was kind of surprised and not expecting it, and was trying to play it off like, oh, it had to been wind, it had to been this, it had to been that, or whatever. That Ouija board wasn't allowed in my house for a long time. Yeah, that's true.
I've never used one, so I can't really say anything about it. Have you? No? You haven't? Okay, well, you were about to say something, unless you forgot.
No. I do have a question for you.
I've never used one myself. I've seen Jay do that, and I've seen a couple other like team members doing them, and it freaks me out, and I'm like, okay, goodbye.
I've seen the movie. I'm not going to do it. The movie kind of freaked me out.
The movie was free. I actually kind of like the movies, but they were kind of freaky. They did have that kind of like.
But I will tell you, like a ghost equipment can do the same thing a Ouija board almost can do. Yeah, I've seen equipment move and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm out of here.
We had an obelisk one time inside of a morgue.
Oh, jeez.
And the damn thing started talking like real talk. Like
really?
Instead of like that electronic voice, it started talking. And it was in the morgue. It was in another area in the morgue.
Uh-huh.
But I was back in the morgue doing an EVP session, and they screamed at me that, oh my God, the obelisk, something happened, and I come running out, and the damn obelisk is talking like straight talk. And I'm like, what the hell?
Well, no, it started saying all these names, like, and after it just kept repeating, like, it probably said like 100 names.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we found out that a lot of those names were actually names of people that were actually
had been through there.
That had their, funerals there.
It was sitting on top of a platform that was used previously for
viewing
purposes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we got called out there because they were having like strange activity and stuff. But we're like, I doubt, a morgue is going to have anything.
Yeah, it's like, a funeral home. It's going to be.
Yeah,
lots of people dead there. Yeah.
Lots of dead people, but their imprints would have been elsewhere, you would think, at least what I thought. But we cut a lot of stuff out of there. We investigated it a few times, but that obelisk, I couldn't believe it when that happened. But, there's a lot of the stuff that we do. I mean, things that happen out in the field, you don't expect them to happen, and it happens, and you're just kind of shocked. You're just sitting there like, that they just happened, you know what I mean? So,
well, the first time...
pretty much the story of our life right there.
Yeah, the first time we actually used an Ovilus 3, we had it running parallel with a Furby. And they were talking back and forth. So the Furby went, like that. And all of a sudden the Ovilus said, human. And then the Furby goes, what's your name? And then it said, demon. Satan, or something like that. And then the Furby stopped. I was like, the Ovilus was Satan, and the Furby stopped. I think it's time to leave the basement.
So that's awesome that you guys use the Furby. We use like all kinds of weird stuff like that. Like, like, why not try? And I remember you and I talked when we were in Haunted Bourbon about that, just using like random techniques and stuff, and just seeing if it works.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what the field's all about, man. I think we lose sight because we see all the TV shows and everyone's running around with K2s and everything else, but it's like there's so much more to it. And Marie and I, we definitely do things a little bit differently. And if you saw the video we just posted of some work we did out in Virginia City, it's kind of living proof of how we kind of do things a little bit differently, and hopefully we get to see that full length pretty soon. But, I mean, I think that mainstream, that paranormal where everyone's just going out there doing the same, I can't handle that cookie cutter. It drives me nuts. But to hear that other people are using, like, new and innovative ideas, like a Furby, like, who would have ever thought of that? I mean, that's awesome, dude.
Well, I mean, with the Furby, is usually worked with interaction, so something has to interact with it in order to make it work. And when we used that at St. Albans Sanatorium, and that darn thing spun by itself when nobody was there. What?
That's the last time it worked, too.
Yeah, I know. Last time it worked. It doesn't even work anymore.
Was at St. Albans,
that's
and that's when it got social interaction. It even asked to be fed, and of course you put your finger in its mouth to feed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got that expression as if someone was, because see, it did that like earlier that evening, and I was like, anybody that's in here, I'll show you how to feed the Furby when it does that. And
Well, you didn't say Furby. You said Tika.
Or
Dika.
Dika. Yeah, we named the Furby Dika. Anyway, we put the finger, a finger in the mouth and showed them, it num 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 thingy. And I left it there. And then we kind of stepped outside in the hallway and we kind of watched it from the corner. And the next thing we know, we heard it go, hollering at it. Feed me.
Oh, yeah.
And it had feed me. And then all of a sudden, like a second or two later, we heard the yum nums expression as if someone had stuck their finger in its mouth, and it was.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
And then something tickled it.
Yeah,
because it started laughing. And the funny thing is, if you tickle it too much, it'll fart.
Dude, who needs a boo buddy when you have a frickin' Furby, man? What the hell?
Right. But the boo buddy apparently doesn't die like the Furby does. Poor thing.
Yeah, probably not so much. Hopefully it keeps on going and designing for that. That's crazy. There's a story of my childhood with my sister. She stayed the night over at someone's house, and remember Teddy Ruxpin?
Oh yeah.
God.
Or you used to be able to put like Ozzy Osbourne cassette tapes in it and like make it do all kinds of weird stuff. Well,
yeah.
She had a situation that happened. I've never told this story publicly. I don't even think in front of Marie either.
Uh-oh.
They had. Did I tell you?
Yes, about your sister.
Well, the Teddy Ruxpin, the thing started like going off and talking and stuff, and then it shot across the room.
What?
And there was no batteries in it. And then I remember her telling me before that they played Bloody Mary and did Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board, and she ended up coming home early that night crying. And like I remember being a little kid, and she was probably like, I don't know, like 13. I was like 8. And I was like fascinated by the story at like 12 o'clock at night, and she's crying and bawling, and I just wanted to know more, and I'm like, oh my God, so it shot across the room, like, and I was so like, she was like traumatized, but, I mean.
Yeah, you can't bring up Teddy Ruxpin to her at all.
Yeah.
I will tell you that. Because I actually asked her, I was like, so for Christmas you wanted Teddy Ruxpin? She's like, shut up!
So I did tell you that story then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, no, I want a Ted instead. Oh, man.
Well, I want a gremlin.
I know you do. She's hooked on gremlins. I don't know why.
Well, I've already found me an electronic gremlin that talks, so yeah, I want one.
It's a Furby-like gremlin. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool, though.
Oh, yeah.
It goes along with the Furbaka that our friend Stephanie Bingham has.
Do they have I just seen a gizmo they had in Target that's like almost.
Yeah,
like
I'm obsessed with gizmos and stuff like that. I have a cat named Gizmo, and I'm obsessed with all that. Like my cat really is like Gizmo. She like sleeps all day long, and at night she's crazy.
And she barks like a dog.
What?
And if you feed her after midnight, you know what happens.
Oh God.
What happens when you get her wet?
Oh, you better watch out if you get her wet.
Oh man, you had a question earlier, Paula?
Yeah, it was back to Jay and his one room that Maria lets him have. What is the most nostalgic, unusual item that you own in that room?
Nostalgic? That's a big word.
I don't even know what that means.
Neither do I.
The most unusual object that I have that is just like the weirdest thing. And when people come over and they ask me like, why the hell do you have this here? Because I have a 17-year-old in my house and a 22-year-old. It's literally one of those ABC like preschool kids like toys. And like it has like little farmer guy on it and a cow that goes moo and all this stuff. And people think that I'm like weird because I have it like showcased on a shelf, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" And we actually took a case about 2 years ago, and unfortunately, like an aunt had bought from a garage sale this item and brought it home to the niece, I guess, right? Yeah. And this thing, like within a day or two, started saying cuss words.
Oh, jeez.
Allegedly, right? And it was saying cuss words, and it started spelling out the father's name. And it ended up saying that the father was going to die of cancer. The next day, he got results back from blood work. He ended up having cancer. He ended up fighting it. But they told us this whole story about this thing, and we were like, okay, I mean, we always remain skeptical about everything. But we were running tests with EMF with this item, and this thing was like off the charts. We have video of it, and we're like, this is ridiculous. Obviously, we're in a portion of the room where there's EMF being emitted from a box or something, so we took it into the middle of a living room. We ran baselines around the building. Nothing was spiking, and we get right to this device. It's spiking. We're like, this is crazy. Well, let's take it outside. So we took it outside, and literally this thing's off the chart with EMF. And then at the time, we had a reverend on our team who then blessed it, and we went and tested it again, and it was like 0 EMF. And it's crazy. But with that being said, the owner's like, take it, get out of my house. I don't want it. But it's weird because I have like these crazy oddities right next to it, and then it's like this little ABC 1, 2, 3 thing, and people are always like, "What is wrong with you, dude?"
He's like Ouija boards, and he has those little, what do you call those things that you put little pins in people?
Oh, voodoo dolls from
dolls
Europe.
and all this stuff all around, and all of a sudden you have this little ABC toy.
Well, at least he doesn't have any shrunken heads.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be on his list. I don't think she'll let him.
Next.
Yeah.
Human heads? We can get some skulls.
Can you have a human head in there?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
If we find one, that would be great.
Well, no, I thought not a human head, but like a skull part.
I mean, is
no,
that legal?
I thought you had like a skull thing or something.
No, we do not have human body parts in our house. That I know of. Yeah,
oh, jeez. That he knows of.
I was going to say, I do have human body parts in this house, bones.
Well, I mean, like, well, do we?
Yeah, on you and me, dumbass.
Oh, okay.
You gotta love being married.
Oh, God, yeah. So let's kind of backtrack all the way to what got you started. I mean, why did you get into the paranormal, Jay?
I grew up like haunted, so like when people always ask me like when did it start, I don't remember a time it wasn't there. So as a kid, I would experience like paranormal phenomenon, and what I mean by that is seeing visual sightings of people that were the way they looked the moment of death, whether that be a gunshot wound to the face, whether that be what they look like after being drowned, hit by a car, whatever, and they would appear to me. And it would happen quite regularly. It happened during the day, happened in the evening. It got really bad. I would go to my mom. My mom thought I was having nightmares and stuff. So I was tested, psychologically evaluated multiple times throughout my life as a child because of these things. Because they were crazy. I mean, they were so intense. They got so bad as a kid, I started building like fortresses and like these forts, like out of blankets and like stuff, and just trying to protect myself in the evening from these things, because that was when I was the most terrified, because everybody was sleeping and I felt like helpless. And like it kind of worked for a while, and I would burn through batteries like crazy with my flashlights, trying to stay awake at all hours of the night. Yeah. And it affected me at school. But I remember when these things started kind of like coming through those fortresses and kind of getting up close into my face. They never assaulted me. They never hurt me. They never physically attacked me. Now in my adult life, looking back at it, I think they were just trying to communicate to me for whatever reason. I don't claim to be a medium or a sensitive or anything like that. I think we're all born with gifts. I mean, I think children are fresh from their creator, and thus them having ability to see things a little bit more clearly. As the same as I believe people who are passing on that, you know, we call it Alzheimer's or dementia, and they don't know what they're seeing or doing, but in reality I believe that they're crossing over and that veil is thinning for them and they're seeing people on the other side, and we've experienced that and documented it in our own life and on cases. But on August 13th of 99, I had a near-death experience. I believe I saw heaven. I believe I saw hell. Oh, wow. With that being said, when I kind of was able to come back, and that's a very long story, that's a whole other show itself, but when I was able to come back, things intensified, and they were a lot darker. It was more malignant. It was more dark. It would be what some would call demonic, and it affected me for many years. I pretty much became ordained I was part of the church for a while. I did small group ministries. I would counsel people, like paranormal consultations in the church, pretty much about stuff that they were seeing and going through. The church didn't like it. They kept phasing me out of me being able to lead group in the college group. And eventually I met Marie shortly thereafter, them kind of just phasing me out altogether. And I think he went to the church a couple times. But we then I just kind of walked away from it because I was kind of pushed away, and it wasn't much but like, you know, a couple months later I find myself in a very serious haunting with Marie, and that's kind of where she kind of picks up as far as like how she started out. But yeah, that's kind of the short of kind of how it started.
Did you ever have, well, I always ask this some of our guests, did you have any imaginary friends when you were growing up?
I don't recall imaginary friends, but I guess you could call it an imaginary friend. I remember specifically playing with some of these people that I knew were dead, the nicer ones, I guess. Even in my adult life, looking back at it, I remember these spirits, and it freaks me out. There was one particular house that I lived in that I would love to go back there today because it terrified me so much. And there was like a triple murder suicide that happened in the house that I picked up on before my family even knew what was happening. And then when I told them that I knew about it, they were like, "How did you know?" And I'm like, "Well, because they told me."
Oh, wow.
So, and I think it was like 6, but or 7. Yeah, I guess you could say I kind of had imaginary friends. Steve, my son that that we said saw spirits. He kind of had the same deal going on. Where he was kind of speaking.
He had imaginary friends growing. I mean,
yeah.
when he actually started even crawling and walking and stuff at the age of 2 or 3, he was always in the corner talking to something that was never there. I just assumed because he did have, learning disability, and they said he was autistic and stuff. I just assumed it was that.
Right.
I never even thought about anything else, to be honest with you. Until Jay and I started dating, and my son started bonding with Jay a lot more. He never wanted to be around Mom anymore, and he was very attached to me. I mean, he's a mama's boy. He's 22 now, and he's still a mama's boy, but he bonded with Jay because Jay actually, I guess in a way, believed him and saw exactly what he saw.
Well, I didn't just believe. I was actually seeing this.
Well, and I think I just pushed it off as, okay, it's nothing there. Don't worry about it.
Right.
It's nothing there. It's, so
which is a natural way of handling that, I think, for most people.
I mean, it was hard. I mean, because when you don't really, a lot of people don't understand autism and mental illness. It's been a challenge having a child grow up with that. There's so many different, and then have the means of actually having hauntings as well. I was very blessed that Jay did come in my life, to be honest with you, because he actually taught me different ways. Because nights, my son would actually wake up every night screaming. He would wake me up. I'd have to go in there and hold him, and he would just scream and tell me that people are coming at him. They won't leave me alone, and for the longest time, I didn't know. I just thought it was his illness. And finally, when Jay came, it helped out a lot.
He was actually validated, which was actually really interesting. The place that she lived at when I first met her, he literally one night went through the entire house and explained the man named Snake and the kid named Nicholas, and how Nicholas was drowned in the bathtub by Snake, and it ended up being that he ended up killing himself. Snake did, which is the father of this kid. We've later found out from residents in the apartment complex that there was...
Well, no, when we were moving out, I went in and I asked the manager of the apartment complex, want to know, did anything bad happen in the apartment we're moving out of? She's like, "Oh, you didn't know? A father murdered his son and killed himself in the bathroom." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice to know now."
But he legit ran through the whole scenario of everything that had happened leading up to the events of that.
And the funny thing is, she said that his name, he was a gang member, I guess, and his name was Snake.
His street name was Snake.
Yeah, so.
Which is crazy. So the fact that he would pick up on that, and it was, it was a rough neighborhood, so the kids didn't really even go outside anyway. So
I wouldn't let them outside.
They didn't have any way of communicating with the outside world outside of this apartment. So it's not like someone told him, and his comprehension was so low at the time, he wouldn't have understood anyways. It was something that he literally saw on his own, which was just crazy and validating for his ability. But I think a lot of these kids and stuff, I mean, I feel like these autistic individuals, you know, I mean, they're levels ahead of us in some ways. I mean, they're seeing things, they're experiencing, and I work in mental health myself now outside of doing all this paranormal stuff. So I see it first and on a regular basis. I worked 10 years law enforcement where I dealt with a lot of psychiatric patients during that time, and then now I'm dealing directly in homes and hospitals and schools with patients with mental illness and different types of disabilities of that nature. And I tell you what, man, I have seen some crazy things from individuals that, you know, that aren't so crazy, that like legitimately like things that they're seeing, things that they're experiencing, that it's not some kind of psychosis or some kind of a hallucination, unless it's a shared hallucination, because I've seen some of the same things that they were, you know, screaming and yelling about, which is just crazy, you know, to me to even think that that's even possible. But that kind of started us on a different journey in our paranormal too. Like we went on Aftershocks, and Zach kind of hooked us up with like a doctor who was also a parapsychologist.
Yeah, Zach went out of his way.
And there's so much more that wasn't featured on the show of what they did help with.
Yeah, a lot of people think Zach is like this hardcore. Don't get me, you know, I don't know how to explain a lot of people think.
Tough guy doesn't really care.
Tough guy, don't care attitude, but he went out of his way to assist our son, and till this day still follows up on our son, you know, to make sure, you know, he's okay and everything.
Well, I've always suspected and speculated that when a child has an imaginary friend, I actually kind of put two and two together that it was, you know, possibly someone from the other side. I mean, because what really makes them come up with this idea, I'm going to have an imaginary friend? I mean, it just pops up, boom, there the person is. Right. It's not like they generate it themselves. It just happens. I mean, I had one myself, and I really don't remember what I did, but I know my imaginary friend broke stuff, and I got blamed for it.
Wow.
Yeah, plus I was the only kid.
Really, it was him. Seriously, Mom, it was him. Like, I really didn't do it.
It's not me.
Crazy. I mean, like, we see it a lot, though. We see that a lot, though, like in some of the residential cases we take where, you know, the kids are, you know, they have this imaginary friend. And, you know, whether these people are manifesting some type of haunting themselves by, like, self-generation, by, like, feeding that energy into the environment of their home, or if it's there and they're legitimately just speaking on what they're seeing, like, to them it's very real, you know what I mean? So you know, you always have to be careful, like, when you're approaching clients with stuff like that in the field and stuff. I mean, I know, like, I always say, like, with these investigations and all these people out there, you got so many people investigating these days. And it's like, you know, we come to these people's houses. If you're doing residential cases, you go to houses, you're there maybe like, 4, 6, 8 hours. Maybe you're there the whole night. Maybe you're locked down the whole night. Whatever it is, whatever your process is, you're not there very long compared to how long that person's usually been in that house.
Oh, yeah.
And the odds of you catching something are just so slim. So for you to be able to say with good judgment, hey, I've been here 3 times for 6 hours each time, and we didn't catch anything. I mean, it doesn't mean that your house isn't haunted. It just means that for the 3 times that we were here, we didn't catch anything. But on the flip side of that, you know, let's say you do catch that holy grail. You catch that full-body apparition. You got it on video. You got it on photograph. And then you got audio supporting it. And you show it to the client, and they're like, yes. Like, you know, they're thinking, oh, these are going to be so happy with me. The first thing that client's going to say is, wow, thank you so much, I'm not crazy. And the second thing they're going to say is,
I'm moving.
Well, now what? and now what? Or I'm going to move.
Yeah.
And Marie essentially are like the now what. So Marie and I spend a lot of time like sitting down with like paranormal consultations is what we call it, and just talking with them and being friendly with them and explaining them ways that they can help to lower or eliminate activity inside of homes. And what they can kind of do and what the process might look like. And some of these people have become our friends. Actually, our case manager that deals with all of our cases, her name is Jen, and she's a previous client. So when people call our team, the first person they're talking to is a previous client of ours.
Okay.
So, you know.
A lot of our times we still investigate and stuff, but with our residentials, it's mostly counseling now.
Yeah,
we honestly are trying to, you know, talk to them and let them know, like, some of the energy that people put in their own homes, they don't realize that they're causing some of these things happening in their own home.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
With all these, I mean, a lot of people don't realize your own cell phone. Think of all the energy that's coming off your own cell phone. I mean, you have your banking account, you have everything, you have Facebook, you have everything, drama, everything on there. You just say Facebook and that's it. I mean, it's just so much. I mean, everything in your own home. We always try to tell people. I remember when we got to talk with Grant and we were sitting there chit chatting, and Grant was like, loves what you guys are doing. Was telling us that he loves that what we're doing. Yeah, because Grant was saying that he does the exact same thing with some of his clients. Mm-hmm. He'll ask them, like, hey, let's go walk in the mall or something like that to get them out of the home.
Right.
And tell them, like, okay, do you still feel that fear? People don't realize that they bring that fear in their home, and they're causing a lot of the stuff that's in their home.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's what we try to counsel a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people, every time we're at one of these conventions, people ask us, what is the most haunted place you ever been investigating?
Yeah, we get that too.
To be honest with you, it's wherever we live. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, and it's not our home because we've moved, I don't know how many times since we've been married. It's not our home. It's us. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, honestly, I think Jay has always had something that's been with him since child. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's still with us. I do believe it's what caused our demonic thing that we had in our home. I still think it is here. I don't ever think you get rid of it all the way. I think you learn to live with it. Don't get me wrong. I do believe you can get rid of some stuff. It's just in a lot of cases, I don't believe you can.
I believe it's mostly psychological, and I believe that it's a psychological battle that you have to play with yourself and with the entities or spirits inside your home. I mean, just like Marie said, I mean, most of the people that you go to visit, you investigate, it's the same story. There's domestic violence, there's adulterous affairs, there's drug abuse, addiction, different things happening in the home. So we look at a house as your temple. And within your temple, you have multiple windows. When you leave your windows open for sins, such as the things I just mentioned, you allow negative things inside your home, which then cause problems. The way to eliminate those issues without getting all religious about things is, like, how do we clean this up? Start taking the arguments outside the home, you know. Go for a walk when you're upset instead of lashing out at home. You know, find other ways to occupy your time with coping skills rather than dumping that energy all into your house, which then can sometimes, you know, stir up the activity. So with ways of coaching people in that manner, it seems to really help people. I mean, it's helped us. I mean, like, you know, we see stuff in our house, shadow figures. We had our team come by probably, 4 months ago. I had a small group of my team members came by our house. It's only the second time I've ever allowed my team to ever investigate my home. The first time it was heavily documented. This last time it was not, but we did record stuff. We turned on the SLS camera in the living room, and there was a stick figure standing at the foot of my staircase, propped up against the rail, waving at us. And then it walked upstairs. So we go upstairs. There's two stick figures on my bed doing God knows what the hell on my bed, and the other one looks like it's stabbing the other one or hitting it. And I'm like, what the hell is going on in my house, you know? And then we start doing an EVP session, and we were literally catching audio similar to the same voice, and the same words were being used within these audios that we were catching in places we were recently investigating, which is proof that some of these things do attach themselves to us. Now, Marie and I, we're known for not using paranormal protection, is what we call it. We do not protect ourselves. We do not ground ourselves, and we do it with intent and with purpose to kind of get to the bottom of cases and to help clients out. There's been several times when we found out, you know, a lot more about a case by these things, unfortunately, following us home, and we're able to give more resolve to the people that are dealing with it in their own homes by doing so. So we've kind of just learned how to kind of live peacefully among it. There has been ups and downs. There has been trials and tribulations, but we've kind of used those trials and tribulations as our testimonies to kind of go out and help other people that are struggling like we once did. So, and that's kind of where the title comes, like calling ourselves haunted survivors and whatnot, because that's kind of what we are. I mean, we've been through it all. And right when we think it's over with, it's like, here comes another wave, you know? Yeah. Before a big case, what happens every time before a big case we take, for example, in our houses, no matter where we live, here it's been happening because we recently jumped on a couple of larger cases that are pretty dense with activity. is these loud bangs at our door. It literally sounds like, someone just plowing into our front door.
Oh.
And then it will just be out of nowhere, and we'll run to the door. There's nobody there. There's nobody outside. And then we have issues to where, birds constantly are flying into our house.
Oh, nice.
I mean, today we had one hit our house. Yesterday we had another one. There's a dead bird out front of our house right now that hit our upstairs window.
I was actually my hairstylist that always does my hair, and I was telling her about, because I was late to something and it had to do with a bird that dove into one of our, our garage or something. I don't know, but it was dead. And I was like telling her, I was like, oh, she was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine doing that. I'm like, to be honest with you, we've lived here almost 2 years, and I'm not kidding you. I will say about 30 birds have died.
Oh, geez.
Running themselves into our house. And I have no idea. I mean, I always tell Jay, it's the most oddest thing in the world. And I honestly...
Sometimes it'll happen a couple times a month. Sometimes it'll happen.
And I'm just like, what is going on? My sister gets so freaked out about it.
Yeah.
When we go on events and stuff, my sister's the one that watches over our house and our animals. And she goes, Marie, your house is freaky. No. and no matter where we move, but this one, I will say, this house, I don't know what it is with the bird thing. And I've asked a neighbor before, both neighbors on both sides, and they do not have any birds dying at their house.
Oh, geez.
So I honestly, I asked that. They looked at me like I was totally losing it.
I don't know.
And I don't, actually, that one neighbor won't even talk to me anymore because I asked that question.
It's like a giant cloud over our house or something. To us, it's funny, though, to a point, as far as it's like, is that paranormal? We don't know that that's paranormal. It's definitely, it's strange that does happen.
Maybe our house is invisible to the birds and they just run right into it. I don't know.
So you're the Addams family of the neighborhood.
Oh, jeez.
No, we really are.
We are.
All righty. Well, on that note, we're going to have to take a break, and we hope everybody's enjoying the Phantasmic Journey podcast with our special guest tonight, Jay and Marie Yates. And we will take a short intermission here, and we will be right back.
The Phantasmic Journey podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. She'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and Shelter Pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the.
Kubo, what have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure.
Phantasmic Journey Podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Paula Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon. Your journey begins now.
All right, and welcome back to the Phantasmic Journey podcast with our two special guests, the Paranormal Powerhouse Couple. It's Jay and Marie Yates. You have seen them on the Travel Channel, Sci-Fi, Destination America, A&E, Travel and Escape, the Learning Channel, and, of course, Oxygen Network. Thanks for joining us again, guys.
Pleasure to be here.
I was like, where'd they go? Did we lose them? Well, Paula, I know she had a question before we went to break, and I'm wondering if she still remembers what it was. Oh, you do? Okay.
This is for Jay.
Okay.
Well, since you said that you have kind of grown up with all these interesting things that are happening to you that's unexplainable or unknown, and possibly is paranormal, or you might have an attachment. Have you ever thought about being hypnotized, and ever thought about, some people do past regression to find out what's actually attached to them?
I've been asked that question before. I think I'd probably be open to it at this stage of my life, just to see like what it's all about. I think there's a little bit of fear too of like, what is it? You know what I mean? Because despite all the work we've done in the paranormal, we still obviously filled with more questions than we have answers. But I think I would probably be open to it if that opportunity came around, just out of pure curiosity to kind of better understand like what the hell I've gone through in my life, and maybe kind of dismiss some of my beliefs about it or whatnot. But yeah, I think I'd be open to that.
Well, see, I've heard stories where people have said that children are born with something that's attached to them, as in when they were born as babies and growing up, and this spirit of unknown could be an ancestor, or it could be some kind of something that caught wind, or how do I put this? The story that I heard about the idea on this was that...
You're talking about what I went through?
No, we're talking about...
I did a past life regression where I found out I died twice.
No, I'm talking about people that are born and they have something that's attached to them since birth.
I've only heard a story about that, but that happened to somebody through a different means. Okay. They weren't born with it.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about there has been stories and there has been cases where people have believed in past regression helped them with whatever it was, and some people found out that they were born with it. And one of the stories or cases that I have read said that it was actually a past ancestor that attached themselves to that person. So it can be interesting. It could be one of your long-distance relatives.
That'd be a little weird.
So that would be really interesting, actually. I have a whole family line that has experienced things. So on my mother's side, she experienced things growing up. She experienced things in her adult life, as did her mother, my grandmother, and then my grandfather. And then on my father's side, I don't know too much about them, but I've heard stories, third party, that would suggest that they've had some experiences as well, that are kind of beyond the norm, I guess.
I'd totally love to see you get hypnotized. I would totally mess with you.
Bark like a dog.
Bark like a dog. Jump like a frog. Come on.
Give him a trigger word.
Marie would not be there during this process.
I would totally say every time you hear your wife's voice, when you wake up, you need to tell her how beautiful she is.
Oh, okay.
See? I would totally have fun with you.
Oh, man. And there'd be a YouTube video.
Oh, my.
Well, I was afraid to actually do it at first, but we were at an event in Jackson, Tennessee, and there was a medium there named Mary Barrett, and she decided to put me under, and I'm just like, I don't know about this. So she hypnotized me, and I did a past life regression, and to this day I still remember what it is. I mean, I was actually telling her the area I was in, the date, and who I was, and how I died. The first one was, let's see, I was in Bolivia, and I drowned. My name was Marco. And then the second one was I was in Czechoslovakia, and my name was Federico, I think it was, and I burned up in a house fire.
My goodness.
Really strange. I mean, and I was actually going through and telling what the architecture looked like, the colors, the pebbles in the street, the wagon wheels. I mean, I was just naming all this stuff, and I have not seen a movie like that, because sometimes they would think that you're hypnotized, you're going back into your deep subconscious, and you're thinking about something that you've already watched previously.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that, what I experienced. So I think that's what she was trying to talk about, but I didn't know anything about being born with an attachment. That's a new one.
Well, I've seen a couple of cases about it online. The reason why I was interested is that could be a possibility.
Well, you're the researcher. So.
Well, that's my job.
Yeah, I would absolutely be interested to figure out like what the hell's going on with me and like why it happened. I mean, I know that after my near-death experience, things were a lot more malignant that were around me, and I kind of understand why that happened. But I mean, like, so I kind of got that. But as to prior to that, it's like, why was I this kid that had all these experiences? It was weird for me growing up because, like, I would try to like talk to my peers about stuff, like you talk with your friends about stuff that's going on in your life, and I could never really relate because it's like, how do you tell people like, oh, last night I couldn't sleep in my room again because of this visitor that I keep having, and then I went into the living room to sleep, and this black shadow of a male appeared in the kitchen, and he stared at me for 2 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's weird, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to be made fun of, and when I ever did talk about it, I was made fun of, and then it got to the point to where I get tested again, which I turned out to be actually sane, though, because I passed the psychological evaluation with flying colors for the sheriff's department out here. In 05.
I think you somehow just like slid by that. I think you're insane.
Sometimes I question it, man. There's some crazy things that I've seen and experienced that.
Well, I'm married to you. I will tell you, you're insane.
Yeah,
oh, jeez. Oh, man. Well, one thing that really kind of gets me is all these near-death experiences that people go through. Like you stated, that you've seen heaven, you've seen hell. There's a lot of people that actually experience that, and then when they come back, their ability is phenomenally enhanced, or they didn't have anything, and now they do. I'm trying to figure out what actually does that. I mean, how does it happen? You ever wonder that?
It's crazy, man. It's definitely. I remember actually looking at my physical body from outside of my car and seeing my body. And I was spirit, and there's not too many investigators out there that could say that they can relate to a spirit at that level because I legit was watching everyone around me. I was at a party back then. I was hardcore into powerlifting, and I think by the time I graduated, I was bench pressing like 500 pounds almost, and I was just this beast of a guy, and I was expected to act like that, at parties and stuff, and. And this one particular incident in this last party before my senior year of high school, and I just kind of got a little out of control. And I remember feeling my heartbeat slow down and slow down and slow down, and I was trying to reach out for help from everybody. And they were like, "You're fine, dude. Just go sit down in your car. You'll be okay," And then I'm like, "No, like I need to get to the hospital. Something's wrong," And I literally saw my obituary. Dear Abby used to do those columns in the paper. I don't know if she does anymore, but I was featured in a column in the Dear Abby, I believe it was called. I saw the news with my car being towed from the lake that I was at. I saw like everything. I saw my funeral. I saw my life flash before my eyes, so I was able to see like all those moments I thought were like completely terrible, and I was put into huge perspective as to where I was at then, that they weren't so bad. I saw everything. It was crazy. And I saw things that later on, after my experience was kind of coming to an end and I was coming back to my body, if you will, I saw things that were going to happen to me in the future, which one of those I do believe is my relationship now with Marie and meeting her. But it's crazy. But when I came back, it definitely was enhanced. The first year of my senior year in high school, my mom had to pretty much rock me to sleep in the living room. Because every time I closed my eyes, I saw myself in the coffin. When I would fall asleep, all the memories of the darkness that I saw within the place that I was at would just lash out at me. So it definitely got intense. I mean, it definitely got super intense for a long time, and I had to learn how to control that. And I kind of leaned to my faith for that.
Right.
And it kind of I didn't say it went away. I just learned again how to kind of live comfortably with it, if you will. But there is times where I guess you could call it have a relapse of my near-death experience. And Marie has been there for me throughout those times to where things happen. There's certain things that I get triggered by that I will see a certain way that the sky
looks. I could
looks.
totally be woken up with screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
And not freak out. I'm so used to it. Between you and Steven, I'm you scream at me.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome from the jail, and post-traumatic stress syndrome probably from the near-death experience. I don't know. But but literally there's things that that definitely do trigger a memory to where it's like, wow, and then sometimes I forget, I don't take life sometimes I take life for granted, and then I'm reminded, by something weird that will happen that will remind me of that near-death experience. Maybe that's God reminding me. I remember I promised God, I said, if you let me come back, even for a second, I'll let people know that, there is life beyond death. And that's where I thought that I was supposed to be in ministry. And pretty much crossing over Paranormal Society, the cops crew, turned into, in the beginning, almost a ministry. I guess in many ways, it is in its own right.
Right.
But I remember one day, I tell this story often, is I was at Phoenix Comic-Con, big con out here, the 100,000 people that come out to this thing. And they had given Marie and I a room that year with 400 seats. And I was like, holy crap. And I'm like, Marie, this is going to be embarrassing if two people show up in here. I'm just going to leave.
Right.
And we had just done like a couple episodes with Ghost Adventures, and I'm just like, I don't know, dude. Like, this is going to be so, like, why did they give us this room? Like, this is so embarrassing, And I'm like, no one's going to show up. And I kid you not, 100 people showed up, 200 people showed up, 300 people showed up, 400 people packed that room with 100 people out the door.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there behind this pulpit. And I call it a pulpit. It's like a podium. And Marie whispers in my ear. It made me melt down like butter in front of all these freaking people. She says, that's your pulpit. Those are your people. Do what God told you to do.
Right.
And I broke down. But like these people are watching this grown man that they're like wanting to hear this scoop about Ghost Adventures start to tear up in the middle of this thing before it even in the beginning of this thing. But I guess I kind of use this as a tool to provide people with knowledge that there is life after death. And with my near-death experience, I feel an obligation, I guess, to my God and my faith to go out and to somehow, if I can provide that with a photograph or a piece of evidence or a video or sharing a story, then I guess in many ways that is my own ministry, wherever that camera is. And I always, I always say every time I go and see, everyone says, oh, Jay, like you speak so well, you're so articulated, and you go to these things and you just sound like this badass when you talk. And I hear this so often, and then Marie knows the truth that before anything ever happens, I have to speak. I'm nervous. I'm like about to vomit. Like before I film, and we've filmed dozens and dozens of shows now on different networks and stuff. I always get sick. I always get nervous and stuff, and I always have that one prayer before I go out, and the camera turns on as I say, God, if I can't speak through me. And it's been a hell of a run. So we're just really blessed, and we're just really happy to be able to be in the position that we are, to be able to help the people that we've been able to help. And I think when you have good intent in this field, great things happen to you. And it doesn't, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be, a Christian or whatever, dude. I mean, I work with all kinds of people, pagans, the Satanists, the psychic vampires, and everything along that, gamut, just to gain information and understanding to help out my clients that are calling me. But, I think if you have good intent in what you're doing, I think good things happen to you in this field.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to the same situation when you're about to speak. I have almost the same problem. Whenever we were at events and when we do seminars and stuff, it's like I'm setting stuff up, and all of a sudden people are like rolling on in while I'm setting up, and I'm just like, oh my God, no, I'm not ready, and then it comes time to actually, boom, let's do this thing, and I'm like, oh, I need something to drink.
It's over with quickly.
Yeah, pretty much. And then usually, I mean, we've had a lot of packed houses at public libraries and some of the conventions that we've been at, so. That's really cool.
I love the lectures and the speaking events. I love them. It just always freaks me out. Like, I don't know what it is every time, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, you want to be able to, educate the people and, answer their questions. But I always tell people in the beginning, like, I do not have all the answers. So you might ask me a question.
Yeah.
I may not have an answer for you because I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we try, I think if you keep it real and you don't act like the guy that knows everything or the gal that knows everything, I think that people are pretty cool with that.
You just got to be real. I mean, that's the one thing one thing, a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, we met you. I mean, we've made so many friends getting to be able to go to all these different conferences, going from Salem Con to, Haunted Bourbon to ones in California to ones in Ohio, anything like that. I mean, we've met so many friends, and they're like, oh my goodness, you guys are so amazing. We're real. I mean, when you guys meet us, you're going to meet who Jay and Marie really are.
Yeah, there's no bullshit. There's no showmanship.
I'm not going to sit there, and I'm not a judgmental person. So that's the one thing. The drama, keep me out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
don't want no part of it.
Well, when we met you guys at the Haunted Bourbon, you guys were, strictly down to earth. I mean, of course, we were just, secluded in our little corner.
Her corner,
But you guys had that busy thing. You guys had all that stuff out. So you guys were really busy over there.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
just sitting there probably acting like we're crazy when we get around some people. We just act really crazy and full.
We made a lot of good connections.
Yeah.
We made a lot of good friends and whatnot. And I mean, those things are fun, but it's just you never know what you're going to get. Recently we had a guy. We were in Virginia City doing a speaking thing, and this guy was kind of nuttier than a fruitcake, and he. We went through this whole spiel about in this spirit that we saw this and then we saw that, and at the end of the thing, you go to questions, and the last question is this guy, and he's like, "So you mean to tell me, Jay, that you never seen a ghost?" And I'm like, "Dude, have you not even listened
Well,
to a damn word?"
The whole room got really silent.
Yeah.
After he asked that question, we all wanted to say, big red truck. Didn't we just see everything we just?
We just showed you video evidence,
right.
Gave you audio, showed you photographs, told you stories like crazy that we've been through, and then your first question is, "So you've never seen a ghost?" So the whole room was like crickets. And then I, of course, had a smart-ass comment to say, and I had to apologize later. But, the guy's just – but, you never know what you're going to get, though. And when you go to these things, maybe that's my fear, is that I'm going to have that guy irritate me at the end and say something stupid
I'm just
that.
honest. I don't care what people think of me, to be honest with you. I mean, I am who I am, and that's what I am.
I think I'm worried that I am so much who I am that someone's going to say something and I'm going to be me and say something shitty like I did to that guy.
Well, I tell you what, we did one of our last public library appearances we did. They filmed it for Comcast Channel 7, and the lady said, when it comes to Q&A, that's when you can ask questions. So we're sitting here doing our whole thing, and they're filming it for Channel 7, plus also it's going to go on DVD for the library so people can check it out, which is cool. Dude in a camouflage jacket stands up and starts asking questions during our seminar. And he was way off in the distance, so it was kind of hard to hear him because he was in the back of the room. And the camera guy just going, Major slapping himself in the face. And the lady's sitting there looking at him going, shut up, So he sits back down, and we start doing our thing again. And then he gets back up and asks another question. I'm like, oh, my God. And Paula's going, what did he say? You remember?
I don't remember that conversation. That was just one of those deals that I kind of wanted to block for the night because it was stupid questions. It was nothing that was basically, well, what does that do? And I'm like, we just discussed what this does.
Yeah, it was up on the screen. You were holding it. You showed it. And then he comes through the line to shake our hands at the end, and he, stayed there just looking at us.
Just stared at us.
I'm just like, okay, I'm going to pack stuff up now.
Yeah. The lady had eventually come in there and basically, the library's closing now. Would you please exit so that everybody can go home tonight?
I mean, oh my God. So if you watch Channel 7, you're going to see this guy, what's that do? I'm just like, oh, jeez.
That's the craziest.
You don't say what I say anymore. I just say, big red truck.
It goes blinky, blinkety, boopity, boop. Got it?
It's a red wagon painted blue.
Well, when we do the pop culture conventions, like the Comic-Cons and stuff, usually, we have a topic, and we'll do 4 or 5 of them at Comic-Con each year.
Mm-hmm.
We have a topic, but when we even start, because there's so many people that ask so many questions, we pretty much say at any point in time, you guys have a question, just raise your hand, because at the end of these things, you get inundated. Then it runs into the next one, and then they get mad at you because you're still trying to finish up that one. So
Comic-Con ones are funny because you get the ones that are
they're all drunk.
Yeah, you get the drunk people, and you should get those questions. Oh my gosh.
Well, we had a cross-dresser at ours.
I tasted your saliva.
Yeah, that was. I'm like, oh, so what's my husband been doing?
It's like, she was listening. God bless her, but she was totally, and she's a sweetheart. She follows Marie and I, but she had way too much to drink, and she was like, I love you guys. I just want you to know, and I know Jay so well. I've even tasted his saliva.
Oh, what?
And I'm looking at Marie, and I'm like, we know her, and she knows she's drunk. I never know nothing, But it was
everybody looked at me like, Marie, don't do nothing.
No, it was very evident. She's a young gal, and she was definitely had a little bit too much fun.
Oh my God!
She comes to our events and stuff, but if she's listening, I'm sorry, but I had to tell that story.
Oh my God! Well, at least you haven't got someone say, "How is Elvis?" and have you seen him recently?
Oh my God! I dropped the mic and walk out.
Oh
man, yeah.
The sex one. Have you ever had
sex with ghosts?
Yeah.
And
Have
stuff
you
like
heard
that.
anybody have sex with a ghost before?
Haunted dildo,
yeah.
weird stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I got something I got to tell you. You're gonna laugh your ass off on this, but we are currently working on an investigation where we are going to. Would you just hold your bloomers on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We are going to be investigating the Romantic
adult
bookstore.
We're working on getting approval.
Oh wow!
They have activity in there.
To be haunted dildos.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have some weird activity going on in there, and I'm like, I bet there is, but yeah.
We've actually had dildos get thrown off the shelves at home.
Yep.
We've had 2 girls actually quit because after one night, them being there by themselves.
Got hit in the head by a dildo.
Yeah, one falls off the shelf and flies right at her, and then they had another little situation. She's like,
so
after
many
that,
jokes, I'm
we're
just going to
done.
reserve those for us.
And the deal is, the back part of the store is the adult theater.
Yeah.
So they've actually had...
there's a theater?
Yeah, there's a theater in the back.
And a sticky floor.
Oh, I don't know if it's sticky or not.
Of course it is.
Know. But they go in there and, you get to watch your movies or whatever. And the guys, do whatever they do. I don't care. And
let's not talk about that. We're on the air.
I know, but I'm just talking about they're
choking the chicken.
Whatever. All I know
flogging the dolphin.
They get...
They get.
So yeah, we were going to be actually going in there and filming, and I'm like, you know how much shit we're going to have to blur?
Do you know how much comic relief we're going to have?
Oh yeah, Joe Vitale is supposed to be joining us on that one.
They won't even take me in one of those stores anymore. I get kicked out of it because they won't even take me in those stores anymore because I go in there and I get kicked out because I'm laughing so hard and I'm dropping things. I can't even go into Spencer's anymore because I am like a kid.
Oh yeah.
When I see these weird little things and I have to try everything.
Oh,
they have these huge, boobs that they put on you and then plastic butts.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, so I'm sitting here and you're not supposed to use the stuff, but I'm trying to put all the stuff on.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, we were already talking about getting a blow-up doll and being in charge of base camp for us while we're there.
Yeah, the one with the surprised look. I think she heard something. Look at her mouth. She's surprised. Yeah. Joe Vitale is going to be joining us on this investigation.
Yeah, he told me he wants to go to theater by himself.
Yeah, and he said if a flying dildo gets thrown at him, he's out.
The fact that you said flying dildo is hilarious, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The name of the episode, Flying Dildos.
Yeah, no.
But if you start feeling some kind of vibration on you, just walk away.
Well, I told Joe, I said, you're going to lay down on the floor, and hopefully it's not sticky, but I'm going to take all the glow-in-the-dark ones, and I'm going to outline you like they do in the crime scene.
Oh, my God.
This is one investigation. I don't think we could actually be serious.
No.
I would honestly, I don't think we would.
You would have way too much fun.
I would have way too much fun.
Oh, yeah.
I just am like a big kid having fun and stuff. Because to be honest, I've learned with, investigating and all that kind of stuff,
Uh-huh.
you've got to have some fun in this stuff. I mean, you can't just take it always serious. I mean, yes, go in there and try to document everything and help families and or get the history of, your location and everything.
Of course.
But you've got to have some fun.
Not like
I
that.
always tell people, it's like you're fishermen. When you're out there going fishing, you're going to sit there for a long time before something bites usually. Well, that's what it feels like when you're ghost hunting.
My favorite is seeing investigators that go in formation like they're a tactical team that's trying to like arrest somebody. I'm sorry if you guys do that. That's fine. That's your way of style of doing it. But it always cracks me up. I guess it's my law enforcement because I've seen it sometimes.
Yeah.
They do it and they're like stacked on stack, like they're going to go in and extract someone from a housing unit at a jail.
Right.
So like when I see it, I can't help it. But if that's what makes you happy when you're investigating, that's fine. But I think we have a little different approach, dude, where we like to have fun, and we definitely are serious when we need to be serious. But I find that half the time when you're kind of screwing around, that's when you're catching a lot of stuff, too.
Another thing, like Jay says, our whole team, we all have different, I think, backgrounds, are all team members now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we all let them let them try different things. Now, it's different when we're doing residential and stuff like that, or, say if we're in a, location that doesn't want certain things. But we always let all of our team members try to do other things.
They're always pretty scientific, though. A lot
yeah.
It's like, there's weird stuff. But, it's all, I mean, we don't know nothing about this, really. We all, like, think we have a grasp on it. But then, it is what it is. It's the paranormal.
Funny thing, I'll learn stuff when we're doing conferences and stuff like that, and we're talking to people. Someone who's never gone ghost hunting, I'll learn something from.
Right.
I mean, I seriously do, and that's the one thing I will always say with anybody that's, in this field. I mean, stay open. Keep your mind completely open and always learn, because you don't know everything. And like Jay said before, you're always going to keep learning. Once you finally think you have something, you're like, oh, God, I know it. I got this. And then something else comes, and you're right back at the, bottom floor trying to figure it out again. So.
Well, yeah, like I've always told people, I go, A, there are no experts. B, there are no professionals. Right. We are all students, constantly learning this field, until it finally gets to the point where we have definitive proof that it does exist. We can see it. We can video it. Everybody can see it with the naked eye, and we know what it is. Right. Then we can say we're done. But no, we're constantly learning. This is like a learning curve for all of us. And working with other investigators, you're actually learning their methodology of how they go about doing an investigation. You can learn, sometimes you can learn bad habits, but sometimes you can actually learn, new ways how to do things. Like for us, Paula likes to investigate outside of the box. Come up with some really snazzy ideas how to ramp up activity. For instance, when we went to, where did we go? Jailhouse Pizza. There was a tornado that came through that area and leveled it and took down the front end of the courthouse, and then behind it was the jail. And what we did was took a cell phone, hooked it to an amplifier, and we made our own tornado inside.
Oh, wow.
And that ramped up activity like nobody's business.
That's the kind of stuff
we sort of do. We've gone in some buildings that had murders or,
We'll reenact it, man. We'll bring in plastic knives and stuff, and we'll unsuspectingly place someone as bait in an area, usually Marie. And then we won't let them know a time frame, but they might know that it's going to happen, and then we'll go in and reenact like a...
I'm usually always the one getting murdered.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, but you know what? It turns out to be some pretty good evidence sometimes, and you get some great audio sometimes. Sometimes you don't. But we find that it seems to kind of, enhance things a bit in the atmosphere or whatever you want to call it. And, I don't know, we get some pretty good stuff from it, so...
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the tornado thing. I've never heard anyone try doing something like that. I grew up around the word tornadoes. Jay always.
Pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, they use because we do stuff like if there's like if it's like a jail, we use certain kind of sounds that would be synonymous with
getting the keys or stuff like
that.
Skeleton keys, stuff, and duty belts and do different things. But yeah, that's
just have
cool,
Jay
man.
Scream because he sounds just like a.
Well, I used to work in a jail, so I still got that.
That voice.
Swag.
The swag? You called it swag?
Jailhouse swag, dude. Yeah.
Jailhouse asshole.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Laugh, man. I guess I'm a pretty big jerk, but yeah.
Oh, man.
But I love you.
But I know we got something else that she's working on that's outside of the box. What is it, dear?
What, for Bethlehem Academy?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a black mirror.
Oh, that's it. She's going to make a black mirror. We're going to do an experiment with a black mirror.
Cool.
I know nothing about it.
Oh.
I'm not even sure how it's going to work.
I'm not too sure. I've read people's experiments with them.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to make our own and see what happens.
Hmm.
Might not get
I think somebody did. I remember I had seen a video of something doing it.
We've done skyring and mirror gazing and stuff like that, and we've had some crew members like absolutely freak out.
Mhm.
We do a lot of sensory deprivation type stuff too. It seems to really intensify manifestations. Just ramp things out any way we can. But that's cool that you guys are doing something similar. So that's that's good to hear.
Well, check this out.
It's super important.
Yeah, check this out. We were at the Farrar Elementary School. I'm sure you probably heard about this. It's only been all over Facebook because it kind of broke my heart. But, yeah. I was using a new device called the Ghost Helmet put out by Kenneth Stafford. And it's similar to the God Helmet, but this thing looks like, well, I look like I'm Optimus Prime. So it has flashing LED lights, and it goes in some type of a pattern, and then it gets synchronized, and you have your eyes shut, and you're just, meditating, watching these weird shapes appear in front of you. Well, the first time I put it on, I was sitting there going, okay, I'm seeing weird things in weird shapes. So right next to it was the Devil Jersey box, which is another ITC device. We use a lot of ITC devices, so we're really not running on the K2 doorstop or the Mel meter, where the antenna always falls out, or the REM pods. I mean, we do have REM pods, but they're 360 motion pods. They're not the static ones, so it detects motion. But going back to the Devil Jersey box, I put the helmet down. The Devil Jersey box said my name. And the thing was just cycling through, doing weird stuff, and doing the echo here and there, and a reverb, and all of a sudden it said my name. I'm like, okay. And then after that, a basketball game started up on it. And I'm sitting there going, there's a basketball game on this box. And this is just, it's not like a Wonder Box or an Andy box. It's just a speaker with reverb and a stomp pedal or whatever. And it's connected to this one radio that he was using, not the SB7, but it's just something that has nothing but static. That's all it is. It's nothing but static. No radio station, no nothing. And there's a basketball game going on. And I'm just like, what the hell? I get everybody over there, and they're like, yeah, that is a freaking basketball game going on. So I picked up the Jersey box, went inside, into the school, down the stairs, to the gymnasium. There's no basketball game being played, but it's on the box. And when we talked to Kane, or Craig, that was our special guest, he said, yeah, when they were there with his team, they were sleeping up above the gymnasium, and in the middle of the night, they woke up to the sound of a basketball game. They run downstairs to the gymnasium thinking someone broke in and was playing basketball. They got down to the gymnasium floor, nothing, gone, quiet. For us, it continued to play on the Devil Jersey box. So I'm like, okay, I've got to document this because this is truly 100% amazing. We're actually getting to hear what people didn't get to hear when they ran down there. Set the camera on up, damn thing shuts off. So I get the camera back up and running, get another camera going. I put a digital recorder on a four-wheeler that was in the middle of the floor. We had an Eddy on one side and a geophone on the other, and you can see the little things ticking back and forth like someone is running across the floor. And when you're listening to the Devil Jersey box, you're hearing the feet squeaking on the floor, you can hear the slam dunks, you can hear people running up and down the bleachers, and everything like that. Now, all that is just incredible, phenomenal evidence. You think we got to leave the location with that?
Well, I hope so.
No. All my footage was corrupted. The only thing I got is the recording on the recorder. Everything else is shot, except for the footage that we shot on the outside. Whatever was there, let us experience it, but will not let us take it.
That's real intelligence right there.
Yeah. Have you ever encountered that in your time of investigating?
Yeah. There's definitely there was a situation that occurred where Marie lost consciousness, stopped breathing.
Oh wow!
And we rolled footage. I screamed at my cameraman to stop recording because Marie was purple, no pulse.
Right.
And he's like, "You told me not to never stop filming, no matter what happens." And I'm like, "Dude, like, I mean, she's not breathing, you know." And long story short, but actually the camera guy set the camera down finally and actually picked Marie up across the door. Color came back. She was all screaming.
Well, you guys were kind of cutting in and out.
He was recording. He didn't want to talk about it.
Huh.
Did you hear us?
Yeah, we kind of got bits and pieces of that. You were cutting in and out. It was like going in and out. It sounded like a rubber band, sort of.
That's really weird.
Maybe we're not supposed to be talking about it, huh?
Yeah, it's really weird. But we literally, our cameraman caught Marie losing consciousness, not breathing, me trying to find a pulse, not finding a pulse, her face completely purple, non-responsive, just getting cold by the second. And we were rolling the entire time and went back for the footage, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's like, got to be freaking kidding me. One of the most amazing, dangerous, scariest moments of my entire life that we literally had a camera rolling. I even screamed at the camera guy, like, "What are you doing rolling still?" And he's like, "Well, you told me to roll no matter what happened and never to stop."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, now it's time to stop." But he caught it all. And we go back to look for it, and it's like it was never even there, like it never even happened. And it just it bothers me so much every single day.
It's parts there, but a lot of it wasn't.
Yeah, like literally, like the portions of which we needed to be able to, for us and our own sanity, to go back to see it,
right?
Like we're just gone. Like it never even happened. It's like that's impossible that would even happen. But it's one of those things, man. You just can't explain. It was featured on season 1 Haunted Case. It was actually at her mother's house and involving her grandmother's death. But it was one of those things that it would have been nice to have had that. Not so much to bring publicly, but just for us to have it, and maybe to share it with other investigators,
right?
But it was just like, man, I couldn't believe it. But I know your frustration, man. It drives me insane. I think about it probably once every month, and I just scream out loud because of it, because it was like we had it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like it was recorded. Like, and at the end of the day, it just turns into a story, without the evidence, without the video. You know what I mean? So
you have no proof.
It just drives me nuts. Yeah, exactly.
Well, the sad thing is, besides us losing that portion, we had an incredible night. I mean, we had Cheryl Ann Fletcher there, who's a psychic medium, and she was talking to the principal and the janitor. And I mean, talk about getting activity down in the boiler room. My camera guy got scratched on his back. He wound up getting looked like a J or an 8 on his back. Paula had something that felt like someone pulled her finger, and you could see it on the thermal. I put on the ghost helmet sitting in the auditorium, and I'm actually seeing a little girl in a sundress with a sun hat, and right next to her a little boy wearing a pilot hat with goggles. Like these children were playing dress up. I saw all that. The camera guys were filming. I mean, so much activity. She went to the principal's office, and she was sitting there, not really taunting, but she was saying, I heard that you've been beating children, and all of a sudden she got a slap on her hand, like someone slapped her with a ruler. And I could see it. I had it on camera. I'm like, oh my gosh, she got a mark on top of her hand, like she got slapped. All that gone.
That's intense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so frustrating. I mean, we had a case probably about, probably 8 years ago or so, and we were out here in the valley at a residence, and we had our camera set up, and we were hearing kids talking, like literally from inside of this closet. It was insane. And our lights on our camera had like a little switch on it, on, off, high, low.
Yeah.
And literally the camera kept like malfunctioning and turning off, and you were hearing the buttons on the light and seeing the light go dim, bright, off. And it just screwed up everything. And it was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And we go over to the camera to look at it, and nothing was happening. It was just stuck on the same setting. But we walk away, and then you'd hear the clicks of the buttons, but yet, we couldn't get anything out of it. All we got is a good story at the end of the day, but it's very frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, after I've spent at least 3 weeks solid trying to use different programs to try to salvage any of the video footage, and no matter what I did, I couldn't. I even shipped it off to professionals that would charge $500 to go ahead and do it. They couldn't even do it. Sad thing is, all the footage that were on those 226 gigabyte cards, I'm using those cards now, and they work perfectly fine.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is corrupted and everything on those 2 cards. And after, when I transferred them, I still have all the footage. I still have it on my server. Just in case maybe somebody would be nice and just release it and let me watch it. But I doubt it.
Right.
But yeah, I still have the actual footage. I took all the stuff off the cards. And I didn't even format the cards. I just cut all the stuff off the cards and put them onto my server. So the cards are still empty. Put them back in my camera, and we're using those to film the movie.
And you have that kind of stuff happen to you where it doesn't make, and then again, you're saying it worked just fine afterwards.
Yep.
We just ran into this 2 weeks ago. We were filming for Fox down in Yuma at this amazing location. I call it the Winchester Mansion of Arizona. It's insane. I mean, it is amazing, and it's a gem, and it's like one of those places that have not been investigated enough. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And we were out there with Fox, and we were filming. And like all their cards were getting corrupted while we were down, and we were getting like activity. Things were happening. We were hearing noises. There was people talking within the room, and we were scrambling to get everything working and stuff. And the audio guy's audio failed. You see it. I mean, you've been there. You've been there multiple times. In your case, you really got screwed on that one. It sounds like you lost a lot, man.
The only thing I got was the recording of the basketball game, and that's my pride possession. That's the only thing I got. But I've already made copies of it. Huh?
Sounds like that's all the spirits wanted you to have.
Well, I don't think they even knew I had that, because after we got that recording, I took the recorder and I put it out in the tent and left it there. Because the cameras were always with me.
Right.
So, yeah, I dropped it off at base camp. So that's probably the reason why I have it. Plus also it's on the outside of the location. So it's like maybe they can't get out. They can only stay in. So, I don't know.
That's valid. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, we've had times where our audio would all of a sudden start dying. Cameras would start shutting off. Batteries start draining. And when Joe was with us, he's like, always something. It usually is. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, we are getting down to the end of the show, and this will be your time to let our listeners know how, or actually tell them how they can get a hold of you guys, where they can see you, what events that you have coming up, where they can come out and meet you, see how down to earth you guys really are, like we know. And just let everybody know.
We got quite a bit coming up. We have this weekend we're hosting a ghost hunt, which unfortunately is sold out at the old Sunkiss factory in Mesa, Arizona. But we do have several tickets left for the ghost walk portion of the evening out here in Mesa, Arizona.
That's cool.
If anyone's interested in that. The first weekend of November, we're going to be in Jackson, California. We're doing the Mother Lode Paraquest out there, and it's going to be a great time. So if anyone's in the area, come on down.
Mm-hmm.
We got several events coming next year. If you're looking for more information about those, you could find most of those on our website, which is our YatesFamilyHaunting.com, or you can find them at thecopscrew.com. That's the cops, COPS crew.com, where you can find information about upcoming. And then, oh yeah, that's right. Marie just reminded me. This Sunday night, Marie will be on Scariest Night of My Life. For something that recently happened to Marie about 3 years ago maybe. Should we be telling that story?
Oh, 2 years.
Maybe.
2 years.
But So that's coming out this Sunday on Travel Channel. Also the same evening, my episode is airing on Travel Channel, so catch that show.
Cool.
Haunted Case File Season 2, we filmed 6 episodes, great locations. The rest of the cast on the show is amazing. It's going to air on a network. I don't know if it will be Destination America again or if Travel's picking it up.
Right.
But we should hear about that shortly. So keep an eye out for that, like on our social media. Yeah, always got something going on. Lots of events, lots of appearances, and it's the easiest way to get a hold of us through our websites, and it's us that's answering your questions. So
or our Facebook.
Or Facebook, that's true. Facebook is a big one. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, I think, to plug right now, right?
Yeah.
So all over social media, huh? Well, I tell you what, we did have an experience with was it My Ghost Stories Caught on Tape or something like that?
Uh-huh.
We were contacted because our first video, after we got done investigating here at her house, we went ahead and went to a place called Carter's Mill, and just using that high 8 Sony Handycam, I captured what looked like an apparition running. And it really looks like it's running. You can see the arm go up and hike the leg and everything. They caught wind of that. They wanted to fly us out to Hollywood. They were going to go ahead and put us up in a hotel. They're going to send us into makeup and get ready. We both were going to get interviewed. And then they were going to send a camera guy back with us, back to the location, and they wanted us to reenact the whole thing and act freaked out like we did when we first shot the video.
Yeah, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, there's no way we can totally capture that same exact moment when it was 6 months ago. There's just no way. Besides that, the place was practically gone anyway. The wall where it actually ran from is gone. It's now a field. So, yeah, they wanted us to reenact everything, and I just didn't appreciate that. I'm like, there's no way. I don't know if they did that to you too.
Shows are definitely, we've had those experiences earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
The longer we've done it, we've had a lot more ability to. Actually, in fact, with something we recently filmed, like Marie was asked a question I still laugh at every time I think about it. The director was trying to get her to explain and be scared and telling the story about this situation.
Right.
He's like, so what would have happened if you would have stayed longer? What do you think would have happened to you? And she's just like, oh, I don't know. She's like, didn't really answer the question. And she's like, no, so what would have happened? Do you think that maybe that, you could have been lured in by this potentially dark, and Marie's like, you know what? Okay, I'll give you this line. And she's like, if I would have stayed there longer, I probably would have captured more evidence, or at least had the potential of catching more evidence. But it killed me because the guy was just hounding, and he wanted that, that dark demon was going to come out of the ground and kill us if we would have stayed there any longer. We'd have been dead.
Right.
But I think we've done it so long now. I think that
well, the producers know us.
Yeah, and then you work with one production and the other production, this guy and that guy, and everyone's all connected in the industry some way or another. And I think people kind of just let us just leave us alone, let us tell the story as it is.
Right.
And but that never
Sorry to say, not everything's demonic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everything is freaking demonic. We've taken hundreds of cases over the years, and there's only 2 cases where I would actually say the D word about them, anything close to that. So all these kids that think that they're catching demons every weekend, I don't know where they're investigating. But,
right?
I feel really sorry for the people that are associated to these cases, because it's got to be terrifying for their families and a disgrace, really, to the field. But just be careful what you're doing out there if you're coming into this field, and team up with someone who's been doing it for a while and get educated, because that's no way of really presenting information to a client. It's a good way to get yourself in a lawsuit. It's a good way to get someone hurt, or it's just too dangerous, man. It drives me insane when I see that kind of stuff. So, but I can't say that we haven't told stories on television to where you're saying what happened, and then on TV it's a completely different thing.
You're like, you picking me up. And Jay's never lifted me up in his life.
No, yeah, that's funny. The one I told, Marie, like I told you, she lost consciousness.
Right.
They show Jay coming to the rescue to pick Marie up to walk her across the threshold. I was freaking out so much that I couldn't do anything. It was actually my camera guy that picked her up.
Right.
But on TV, it's showing this, and I'm saying something completely different. But it is what it is. We go out to the conventions and we tell it how it is. And,
right.
Stay true to who we are. But the field is crazy, and then you add the element, as you guys know, of production. You never know what they're going to expect or want. You just got to stick to your guns like you guys have.
Yep.
And do what you're doing and do it as 100% as you possibly can without bending or folding the truth and whatnot.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, alrighty then. We do appreciate you guys being on the show. We've had a great time, and Paula's over here typing on her phone. So we will definitely have you guys back on here, probably to talk about, let's see, the Haunted Case Files when I guess they come out, or that other show that you're talking about. We can go ahead and talk about that. But we had a great time with you guys, and hope you guys would like to come back and hang out with us for 2 more hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime. We really appreciate you guys having us on.
Hey, not a problem.
Really fun time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great way how people can learn about each other. So what a better way to do it than on the radio, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the stories that we can tell.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you guys. You have a great night.
All right, you too.
Thank you, guys.
Watch out for those flying dildos.
Right? All right, well, there you have it. We had our special guests, Jay and Marie Yates. And you can catch them on the Travel Channel, Sci-Fi, Destination America, A&E, Travel and Escape, the TLC, which is Learning Channel, and, of course, Oxygen Network. And once again, you can see them in numerous shows, not limited to Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Witness, My Ghost Story Caught on Tape, Ghost Adventures Aftershocks, Scariest Nights of My Life. Basically, Marie's going to be on the Travel Channel later this week, so check that out. Jay's going to be on the Travel Channel later this week, so be on the lookout for that. And we're going to go ahead and talk to them once Season 2 of the Haunted Case Files comes out. So I hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight, and stay spooky. I don't know. What are you doing over there? You're not going to say nothing?
Yeah, stay spooky?
Huh?
What did you say, stay spooky?
I said stay spooky.
Oh.
I don't know. Anyway, everybody have a great night.
The Phantasmic Journey Podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Paula Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon.